This is your prime time forecast for East Alabama and West Georgia from Dr. Don's Weather. Dr. Don's Weather is made possible by the Randolph County Commission, East Alabama Waste, Southern Auction Solutions, Genesis Weight Clinic, Jimmy Stevens Construction, Anchor Roofing, the Town of Wadley, Auction 431 South, the Salem Auction House and Bama Diesel Repair. From the Alpha Weather Center, powered by Fincher Fence, Estate Masters, Boondocks Barbecue and Creamery, Southern Union State Community College and the venue at 5 Points Farms, here's Dr. Don.
And welcome to your Sunday, East Alabama and West Georgia. I trust that you have all of your firewood ready. You have the big, thick winter coat out there. And you're ready for some cold weather. We're going to tell you just how cold coming up in this morning's edition of your primetime forecast for Sunday, January 19th, 2025 on Dr. Don's Weather. Today's forecast is brought to you by Southern Union State Community College. Check them out on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Southern Union Community College. Be sure and tell them thank you for making all of this possible. Also, don't forget to get your ducks in a row with Dukas at 256-831-7770. Jamie can handle all of your insurance needs, both personal and commercial, in Alabama and in Georgia. Dangerous cold. Folks, I'm awfully afraid that the dangerous cold headlines are getting lost in the talks of snow. Regardless of any snow we may or may not see Tuesday or Tuesday afternoon, the bigger issue here will be the prolonged periods of extremely cold temperatures across East Alabama and West Georgia, across the entire southeastern United States, for that matter. Precautions for and preparations for the cold weather should be complete by this afternoon. Remember the 4 Ps: people, pets, pipes, and plants. You got to make sure that you are prepared personally. Make sure that your neighbor is prepared. If you know someone who has inadequate heat, you got to make sure they're taken care of. Pets cannot stay outdoors in this. You got to have a way to keep them out of the wind. The wind is going to be the problem, and that's going to be at its worst tonight into Monday. I think winds will back off a little bit by Monday night and Tuesday, though it is still going to be dangerously cold. The wind chill factors is what causes the problem. That's what freezes your pipes. That's what causes frostbite. That's what causes you to get in trouble. It's the wind chill factor. We talk about that all the time, and a lot of folks are still confused over exactly what that is. I mean, you have the temperature, and then you have the wind chill factor. Well, the wind chill factor is what it feels like on your skin. The actual temperature combined with the wind makes it feel even colder than it actually is, and your skin doesn't react to that very well. So you got to understand that this is not normal. This is not something we deal with every winter. I mean, it does happen, but it's, every 3, 4, 5 years. And we're just not accustomed to it here in the South. Now, this wouldn't be a big deal up in Chicago or out in North Dakota or Wyoming. They do this all the time during the winter. But we are not accustomed to that. We're not built for it because we don't live up there. We live down here. So you got to be prepared. You got to take this serious and understand that this is not something you just want to ignore, and then all of a sudden you're in trouble. All right, so let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about, and that's the potential for a winter storm across the southeastern United States. And yes, winter storm watches have now been lifted and are now in effect for East Alabama and West Georgia. In Alabama, basically Coosa, Tallapoosa, and Randolph south. I said south, not north. That's backwards. In Georgia, the I-20 corridor from the Alabama state line to Atlanta, south, and then from Atlanta east along and south of the I-85 corridor and south. Again, that's backwards in Georgia. It's normally north of those corridors. Basically, the southern half of Alabama and all but the extreme northern sections of Georgia are under this winter storm watch. So the winter storm watch, the criteria for a winter storm is 2 or more inches of frozen winter precipitation. And we think that that is a decent possibility in those areas I just mentioned to you. And I'm going to show you all these graphics here in just a moment. Extremely cold and dry air. Now, remember the word dry, because I think that's going to play a key into all of this. Very complex situation we're dealing with here, and anytime we have snow, it's always very complex. Extremely cold and dry air will be in place Tuesday as a low-pressure system forms and moves across the Gulf of Mexico, spreading precipitation up into Alabama and Georgia. Here's the deal. If you'll remember, every time we have a snow event, we always talk about the fact that we have dry air in place, and the column of air from top to bottom has to saturate, or it has to become moist before the precipitation will make it all the way down to the ground. If the air mass that was going to be over Alabama and Georgia wasn't so cold and dry, then we probably would be looking at much higher snow totals. But for now, we're talking 2 to 3 inches along and south of the I-85 corridor. And the reason why is because of that dry air that will already be in place. That dry air is going to eat up some of that moisture before it makes it to the ground, okay? Especially along and north of the I-20 corridor in Alabama and Georgia. There's going to be precipitation across North Alabama and North Georgia. But it's going to take longer for the column to saturate to the ground across the northern part of both states. So that's going to take away some of that available moisture, which would otherwise be snow on the ground. So there's a big, huge question mark here as to how long that process takes, how dry the air is, and we're getting close enough now to where we can take balloon data, real live local data, and plug it into the computers. So the snow forecast amounts will start to get much more accurate now within the next 24 hours, leading up to the onset of this possible precipitation event. So there's still room there for things to change as far as snowfall amounts are concerned. We could see more snow than expected in South Alabama and even in North Alabama and North Georgia. I mean, all the way up into Northeast Georgia. Right now, we're just talking about a dusting to a half inch, but that could end up being more, or it could end up being less if that dry air is overtaking the precipitation, if that makes sense to you. Let me show you some graphics. It's going to be a battle of dry air versus moist air. It's going to be a battle of exactly where the low tracks. Still a lot of uncertainties here as far as how much we're going to see. I think the placement is pretty good right now. You can see it there on the screen. Basically from Dallas-Fort Worth all the way across Louisiana, back into Mississippi, across central and South Alabama, central or north and South Georgia, and even up into the Carolinas, and all the way up to Maine. This storm will affect. But you'll notice that there is a bullseye area right there in Louisiana. And that's because the air is not expected to be quite as dry right there, so they're looking at more snow potentially. That's just one theory. Here are the snow totals, expected snow totals across the southeastern United States. You'll see 4 to 8 inches over there in Louisiana. And then in Alabama, for the most part, and this is a broad general idea of 2 to 3 inches. Will everybody from Birmingham to Troy, Alabama get 2 to 3 inches? Absolutely not. There will be pockets where we'll see more than 3 inches. There will be areas that won't get 2 inches. Generally speaking, in that area where you see the blue, we're talking 2 to 3 inches of snow. Some folks are going to be pleasantly surprised. Others are going to be greatly disappointed. That's the way this works. So know that going into this. And then across Georgia, we're looking at pretty much the same thing. That 2 to 3 inch area of possibility is from Atlanta all the way down to about Albany. I think the further south you go down around Albany and down to the Florida state line, we're probably in the 1 inch category, but from maybe Americus up to Atlanta, we're talking 2 to 3 inches of snow, and that extends all the way over to Augusta and even into South Carolina. So this is the snow potential. This is not a forecast. This is not etched in stone. This is certainly not 100% this is going to happen. This is the way it looks at this point across those areas. So I know what the next question is. How much is it going to snow at my house in Wedowee? How much is it going to snow at my house in LaGrange? How much down here in Alexander City? Generally speaking, 2 to 3 inches of snow all across East Alabama and West Georgia. Some of you will not get that. Some of you will get more than that. There will be pockets where we will see heavier snow. And there will be areas that won't get anything close to what this graph is showing, especially if you're along and north of the I-20 corridor. Now, that's where the really, really, really dry air is going to be, so it's going to take a whole lot more moisture up there to saturate the column. Well, the best moisture is going to be down to the south, we think, based on the current forecast track of the low. If that low were to track, 50 to 100 miles further north, then that could change everything for central and north Alabama and even up into Tennessee. And I think we will get better ideas on that later tonight and into tomorrow morning. This is probably going to be a Tuesday afternoon through Tuesday night, Wednesday morning event across East Alabama and West Georgia. So there's plenty of time for things to continue to change. So the expected impacts across Alabama, if this verifies, up there across the I-20 corridor, limited impact area, winter driving conditions are possible. Understand, any precipitation that falls is going to stick on impact. There's not going to be, multiple hours of snow hitting the ground and melting. It's going to start sticking immediately, and it won't take much with the temperatures that we'll already have in place to cause problems in places like I-20, the bridges, the overpasses. I know Alabama Department of Transportation's already been working. So has the Georgia Department of Transportation, and they do a good job pre-storm. And the type of weather setup we're talking about with temperatures down into the teens, there's not a whole lot you can do. It's going to stick on impact. So there could be travel problems along I-20 and even up into North Alabama and North Georgia. But I think those travel issues will be limited. Then you take a look at that darker blue area there from about Wedowee down to around Auburn, Opelika, and from Lineville down to about Tallahassee in Alabama. In Georgia, that would be from Franklin down to about West Point, maybe Valley. We're looking at elevated impact areas. Difficult travel conditions, closures, and disruptions to infrastructure may occur in those areas. Now, that's going to encompass I-85 from Opelika all the way to Atlanta. So if you have travel plans into Atlanta on Tuesday night, or Wednesday, I would seriously reconsider. Remember 2014. Need I say anything more? Then you look at that pink area down in South Alabama, basically from Auburn, Opelika to Prattville and over to Selma south. And in Georgia, that would be, basically right there along the interstate at Valley south. Significant impact area. Dangerous travel conditions, closures, and disruptions to infrastructure will likely occur in those areas. Now, understand, not only is it likely in those areas, but it's going to be long duration. Typically in the South, we get snow, and then 4 or 5 hours later, the sun's back out and it's 72. That's not going to be the case here. We're talking snow Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, maybe even lingering into Wednesday morning. And then on Wednesday, if we have a good snowpack, and where the snowpack is, 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 inches, you're not going to get above 32 on Wednesday. So there might be a wee bit of radiational heating, melting that takes place, but not a lot. And then Wednesday night, we're back into the teens. And then Thursday, we're supposed to get up into the low 40s. But again, if we have a decent snowpack, we may struggle to get above 35, 36 on Thursday. So any snow on the ground, especially in those areas that get above 2 inches, 3 inches, could hang on now for the remainder of the week. And then you go through that refreeze cycle every night, you end up with ice on the roadways. And once that happens, there really isn't a whole lot you can do to treat it. So understand that there is a possibility that in some of those areas that get decent snow cover, you could be looking at almost impossible travel conditions all the way through Friday or even Saturday of next weekend. Plan accordingly. This could be a significant prolonged event for East Alabama and West Georgia. I want to remind you again, the Wedowee Senior Center at 24 North Main in Wedowee will open their doors this afternoon as a warming station, and they're telling me that they will remain open as long as there is a need. If you know of other locations that are going to be doing that, please send me a message on Messenger, and I'll get that information out there. All right, let's take a look at your current conditions at the venue at 5 Points Farms in Chambers County, Alabama, there in the northeastern corner. 47 degrees currently. That's probably our high for the day. Our temperature will start falling this afternoon. Wind out of the west-southwest at 9, gusting to 10. You see the wind is already there. Humidity, 95%. The barometric pressure, 29.91. Dew point, 46. High temperature yesterday was 56. We do have cloudy skies. Sunrise this morning was at 6:44, and the sun sets this evening at 5:01 p.m. It is going to remain a cloudy day throughout the day, and again, the temperature will be falling. That 45 was optimistic, and we're already there. So now we start to plummet into the low 40s this afternoon, even into the 30s by about 3 o'clock. And by the time the sun sets this evening, we'll be below freezing. With that gusty northwest wind, it is going to be extremely dangerously cold as we get into your Sunday evening. All preparations for whatever Mother Nature is about to throw at us should be complete by sundown this afternoon. Here's your 6-day forecast. From the Alpha Weather Center, Jamie Dukas, your local Alpha agent. For today, mostly cloudy. There could be a snow flurry or two after lunch today across the northern tier of counties in Alabama and Georgia. No accumulation anticipated. 45-year high, we've already been there. We're headed in the other direction now, down to 17 for your overnight low. Wind chill factors will definitely make it into the low teens, if not upper single digits, especially along the I-20 corridor this evening across East Alabama and West Georgia. On your Monday, MLK Day, Inauguration Day, National Championship Day in Atlanta. Lots of stuff going on tomorrow. It's going to be a sunny day, but our high will only be 32 degrees. Now, some of you may hit 34, 35. Others may not make it to 32 tomorrow, especially if you're in the higher elevations, Potash Ridge in Randolph County. You may hang out around 30 all day tomorrow. Down to 18 on Monday night. And then on Tuesday, we get cloudy in the morning. I think the precipitation moves in around noon on Tuesday. Now, you folks down there on the southern end of our coverage area, we're talking about Lee County. We're talking about Harris County. You could start maybe at 9, 10, or 11 a.m. Tuesday morning. And then that precipitation will slowly work north throughout the afternoon. So The snow machine should be well underway by 3, 4, 5 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon. If you have anything you have to do Tuesday, do it Tuesday morning. Be where you need to be by noon on Tuesday. 33 will be your high. Will give you a 60% chance of accumulating snow across East Alabama and West Georgia on your Tuesday. Down to 15 on Tuesday night. Then on Wednesday, back to full-blown sunshine. But if we have a decent snowpack, you won't make it above 32, even though we're calling for 37. Down to 18 Wednesday night. And you see the frigid temperatures just continue. Then on Thursday, mostly sunny with a high temperature around 40. Again, if you have 2-3 inches of snow on the ground at your house, you'll struggle to get above 32 on Thursday. Down to 22 for your overnight low. Then on Friday, we're still cold. 42 will be your high under mostly sunny conditions. Down to 21 on Friday night. So again, look, folks, we had 2 inches of snow across White County, Georgia. Friday was a week ago. Now, I have to look for it, but I can go out on my front porch today, 1 week and 2 days later, and still find snow. It's still on the ground up here. And we've been up into the mid-40s multiple days last week, and we had rain Friday night into Saturday. There's still snow on the ground up here. So it takes a lot of heating. The ground has to get above 32. And if it's covered with a blanket of snow, it cannot get above 32 because 32 is freezing. So the point I'm trying to make here is that the effects of whatever does happen Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday night and Wednesday morning potentially could stay with us for multiple days, which could continue to cause problems because of the thaw-freeze cycle, the runoff, pavement freezing at night. When you get down into the teens and 20s, it's going to happen. So be prepared for a long-duration event, potentially across East Alabama and West Georgia. Southern Union State Community College live Doppler HD radar. We see a few showers over in extreme East Georgia and back into South Carolina. And if you look real close across the Tennessee Valley region of North Alabama and southern Tennessee, up there just south of Nashville, we are beginning to see some snow flurries that are occurring up there, and I'll take you a little bit closer. And maybe around Columbia, Tennessee, and headed back off to the southeast, we're beginning to see some snow flurries there. Again, this is not accumulating snow. Because it may snow real hard for just a couple of minutes and then it's gone. Across East Alabama and West Georgia, we're showing no precipitation at this hour. Make sure you're ready for this, folks. If it doesn't happen, then fantastic. But if it does happen, you want to be prepared for it. And there is a bust factor. There always will be a bust factor when it comes to winter weather across the southeast because there are so many different elements that have to align just right to get snow. So I think there's a decent chance you'll see snow across East Alabama and West Georgia. Exactly how much, well, that's impossible to tell you. But right now it looks like 2 to 3 inches will be the theme across East Alabama and West Georgia. So be prepared. Enjoy it as you can. Understand it's going to be dangerously cold outside. So if it does snow at your house, you're going to take the kids outside to play in the snow. That's great. Just be safe with it. Make sure that they are bundled up, layers of clothing, and don't let that old nasty frostbite slip in there and cause you problems. Protect your pipes. That's going to be one of the biggest problems we face as we go into all of this. The wind is the culprit in freezing your pipes. Make sure you protect those pipes from the wind. Keep it dripping, not running. You don't have to have your water on full blast inside your house. Just an occasional drip is all you need to survive through this without bursting pipes. So our plan moving forward is, I think, we've got a live webinar this afternoon with the National Weather Service. Going to see what they say. But right now I'm thinking that we go into live mode moving forward. In other words, we may do a Weather Talk Live tonight, and then on Monday we will do multiple Weather Talk Lives throughout the day. And then we'll go live on Tuesday morning as well to update you with the latest. That's my thinking right now. We'll see how the data evolves this afternoon and see what the trend is, and we'll let you know right here on Dr. Don's Weather. Either way, make sure you are prepared. And if there's anything you need, information I need to share with everyone, send it to me on Messenger. That is the best way to get in touch with me, and we'd love to hear from you. Be safe out there. Get those preparations done this afternoon. We'll talk to you later here on Dr. Don's Weather.
This has been your primetime forecast for East Alabama and West Georgia. From the Alpha Weather Center, powered by Fincher Fence, Estate Masters, Southern Union State Community College, the venue at 5 Points Farms and Boondocks Barbecue and Creamery. Dr. Don's Weather is supported by the Randolph County Commission, East Alabama Waste, Southern Auction Solutions, Genesis Weight Clinic, Jimmy Stevens Construction, Anchor Roofing, the Town of Wadley, Auction 431 South, the Salem Auction House, and Bama Diesel Repair. Be sure to like us on Facebook, share us with all of your friends, and subscribe to Dr. Don's Weather on YouTube. We will be back tomorrow morning with another edition of your primetime forecast on Dr. Don's Weather.